So we're heading out of Winnipeg. We've been on the road for about an hour and a half. Yesterday we were tourists and went to the Human Rights Museum, walked around the Forks, had some lunch at the Forks, checked out the Exchange District, found a fantastic ice cream store, and then this morning on our way out we stopped by the Riel House National Historic Site. Wasn't open yet. And now we're heading south into southern Manitoba and beyond. About a kilometer ago we had a 4-lane highway, divided highway, with an 8-foot shoulder, paved smooth, and now we're down to 2-lane highway, no shoulder at all. Same amount of traffic and the same 100-kilometer-an-hour speed limit. So it went from ideal to the worst possible situation, like instantly. So, not impressed. We're bailing on Highway 59. That was horrible. Come on, Manitoba. Shoulders, shoulders. It's good for everybody. Anyway, it's a grid here, so we're taking some gravel roads to avoid the gravel shoulder. So it'll be quieter, safer. We just had lunch in Steinbach, and we're heading out. We were on 52 for a little bit, and then the shoulder disappeared again, and we were launched into a gravel shoulder that's super loose and really difficult to ride, but the road has zero shoulder and lots of traffic, like 3 times as much as the Redcoat Trail, so not recommended. So we're ditching the highways and doing the byways, but they're all gravel, so we're going about half the speed that we normally would. And we got about 120k a day or so, but it's going to take us twice as long as normal, which is really not good. And it's quite hot, so not the best day. We're getting rattled to death, and we're going slower than usual. So Manitoba, one request: shoulders. Holy, we are surrounded by deer fly. Wow. We noticed yesterday haze in the air, and I thought it was just humidity, because it is rather humid, but we think it's the smoke from the Northwest Territories. We had a very red sunset last night, but we can't smell it or anything, but it's just this little haze on the horizon that you can see. You see the trees actually in the distance there are obscured. The American border at, I think it's called, well, on the Canadian side it's the Sprague border crossing. We're coming up to the town of War Road, and this is in Minnesota. I'm going to turn off my camera now so they don't get suspicious of us. Good morning.
Morning. Cheers. Hot chocolate.
It's very hot chocolate. Hot chocolate. No coffee. Because it's so hot we can't keep the cream.
The things we have to sacrifice.
Yeah, the sacrifice. So, yeah, you can't have coffee without cream, so.
No.
so no coffee. But we are in the United States of America today. We got in yesterday midday after our last 2 days in Manitoba, where we fought deer flies, dirt roads, bad campground, what else? No shoulder.
Traffic.
Traffic. It was kind of and heat. Yeah, so it was, it wasn't, the first day into the bad campground was kind of long.
Yeah, yesterday was fine.
Yesterday was, yesterday was fine.
90 kilometers yesterday, felt easy.
Yeah, so that's not so bad.
No.
And now we're in a nicer community or municipal campground in Warroad. And Warroad's a town of 1,800, it says on the sign. But man, it feels way bigger than that, and it's busy. There's like a huge train every hour or 2 hours, and yeah, just lots of things going on.
Yep.
And anyway, it's a nice little town, and then we're heading off.
Yep, we're riding in the States all of today basically, but then we cross back into Ontario at the end of the day at Rainy River, and we'll be back in Canada for the rest of it. This one sort of detour that we've taken was really the only way to not take the Trans-Canada between Manitoba and Ontario, so we stayed very south. If you take a look at your map, you'll see that you can stay south, which is exactly what we did, but you have to spend about a day coming through the US. So. Yeah,
we're going this underneath Lake of the Woods, which is huge, and the border does a funny dip-de-doo around there, and anyway, so we ended up going south a bit, so kind of fun. Yeah, riding up to the border crossing, and they're not any friendlier when you're on your bike.
No, as friendly as ever.
Anyway, that's a 2-day wrap up.
Yep. That's us.
Yep. We'll catch you up in Ontario.
This is the bridge over the Rainy River. On our way back to Ontario.
After a long visit in the United States.
24 hours.
Yeah, just about. Open for business. Thunder Bay, 444 kilometers. All right, first swim of the trip.
First open swim of the trip. Well, first swim.
First swim?
Yes.
We have crazy farmer tans. Horrible.
Is that a GoPro?
It's a GoPro.
Hi.
Hi, you're on YouTube.
Oh, you're on YouTube?
You will be, yeah. You're gonna be famous.
What's your channel?
Shannon Marco Travel.
Marco Travel?
Shannon and Marco Travel.
Shannon?
Yeah.
Shannon.
Yeah.
That's me. I'll look you up later.
Okay. Ready?
No.
Here we go.
I'll show you my
How deep is it?
I don't know, that's why
I'll do a long jump out there.
too, but...
Okay. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, go! Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, we're going downstream.
Holy moly, are we ever? Here's our Rainy River campsite. That brick building is the water treatment plant, and we are camped on their lawn for 15 bucks. And we got to use the shower facilities for the RV park that's across the street. And what else do we get to use? There's
We got to jump in
we
the
got
river.
to jump in the river. Oh, and there's some picnic shelters. They're about 200 meters away, but they'll be perfect for
Yep, we'll use that because we don't have a picnic.
shady supper and a beautiful breakfast spot. So anyway, here it is. Kind of quaint.
Thanks, Rainy River.
Yeah. Good morning.
Morning.
It's just after 6 a.m. We've packed up our site. We're having breakfast at a little canteen place right on the water here in Rainy River. Rainy River's still asleep, as it should be. We're trying to get ahead of the weather again. We're predicting thunderstorms and rain and all kinds of stuff. And in fact, we thought we'd be packing up in the in the rain.
Yep.
But looks like we got lucky. So anyway, early start, and then now we're heading into northern Ontario.
Fort Frances today.
Fort Frances today, 92K or something, 90-ish.
Yep.
So not a crazy long day, but we want to try to get there ahead of the worst of the rain. It's supposed to be quite heavy at times. So anyway, that's what's on the books for today. If you look over my shoulder, you'll see a big gray cloud. We're getting chased by a big storm cloud. It's just gonna roll through in about an hour and a half, apparently. Hang on a sec. It's a little close. We're 30 kilometers from Fort Frances, which is like an hour and a half at our pace. And that's about the time the rain's supposed to start. So we just had a bit of a quick coffee break in EMO, and charged up on a little caffeine, and we shared a delicious apple fritter. And now we're gonna put the pedals to the metal and try and get to Fort Frances before we get soaked. We made it. Fort Frances. It's 11:15, and we have not had a raindrop. Phew! Hey! Oh, I gotta grab those handrails. It's steep. We're in Fort Frances, and we are going up the lookout tower, which used to be part of a air defense system, but from the 1950s, and it got moved to Fort Frances as a tourist attraction. So since we're tourists, we're gonna go up it. Anyway, it's 100 feet tall. Oh, and we get a view of Rainy Lake and the US of A over there.
And all the trucks that passed us this morning.
Yeah, and all the trucks that passed us this morning with their trailers. There's the Canadian Bass Fishing Championships here this weekend. So that tent is going up for that, and anyway, it's a big deal. And anyway, we're going up. But we're just killing a little time here because we've accomplished our goal of getting here before the storm, which doesn't seem to be appearing, but it's supposed to rain later. We're moteling it. We just came back from the campground that we could have stayed at, and it was kind of bathrooms were disgusting, and the only tents in the tenting site were permanent residents and not really where we wanted to stay. So we decided to motel it. We're staying at the Bayview, and anyway, we have to check in at 3, so we're killing time until then, discovering Fort Frances, its history of pulp and paper and pelts and voyageurs and all that kind of stuff. And it's a long way up here. How far did we go today, Shannon?
94.
94 clicks today by 11:30 or so. So we really put on the miles. We had no wind to speak of.
No.
Didn't hinder or help really. So it was fine. Hey, we made it. So here's a west view of Fort Frances.